Hi, this is Cindy Polakowski. Welcome to the latest installment from our Global Automobility Engineering Careers Tour, featuring a panel of student leaders at the University of Michigan Dearborn. With the generous support of Astemo, fellow host John Petty and I were part of a discussion focused on the role of student organizations in the education of the next generation of engineers. Joining us on the panel, Savannah Welch, an undergraduate studying human-centered engineering design, Regina Arriola, a master's student in bioengineering, Perla Fares, a master's student in biomedical engineering, Jakub Wittrock, an undergraduate studying electrical and computer engineering, and Zane Carlson, an undergraduate in software engineering.
All right, we're going to start the easy way. We're going to ask each of you to introduce yourselves, and I'm going to start to the first person, Savannah Welch. I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us about your unique experience at University of Michigan Dearborn.
Yeah, so my name is Savannah. This is my 5th year. I started in health and human services, and then I transferred to CECS, and my major is human-centered engineering design with a concentration in software and HCI. I think the most unique experience is being able to work on projects that are unique to me and that I can explore different creative fields in human-centered engineering design. And things that I didn't expect to experience I had.
My name is Regina, and I am the first student at UofM Dearborn to partake in the Accelerated Master's Program for Bioengineering. So I'm a master's student in bioengineering. I should be finishing up this year, and I did my bachelor's degrees in mechanical engineering and bioengineering. And I think that my experience at UofM Dearborn has been unique just because of all the different opportunities that have been handed to me. I've been in many orgs, and there is a great community here, and it has led me to do all of the things that I love to do. I do research in the Human Factors and Biomechanics Lab, and I'm there for my thesis, and I'm also the president of the Society of Women Engineers.
My name is Perla. I am a second-year master's student in biomedical engineering. I came to UofM Dearborn 3 years ago, when I transferred from Beirut, Lebanon. So I'm an international student, a transfer student, and a first-generation student. I transferred from Beirut. I finished up my bachelor's of biology in 2 years, and then I transferred to engineering, and I did my master's in biomedical engineering, which is what I'm finishing up this year. My unique experience at UofM Dearborn is shaped by being the first student to ever do a master's of engineering without a prior bachelor's of engineering. I was lucky enough to be able to do that because of all the math prerequisite classes that I've taken in my undergrad. I had to take a couple prerequisite classes in my first semester, but the faculty, the college, and the department were very helpful with me doing that, and it was a very encouraging environment for me to be able to do well in engineering.
I am Jakub. I am a 4th-year electrical and computer engineering undergraduate student. There is so much I want to talk about with my experiences at the University of Michigan Dearborn, and there's several unique things at that. I'd start with my senior design project, which all of us engineering students get to go through, have to go through, it's up to you, the phrasing you guys want to go through. But I am working with an excellent team to design a module that will help vehicles detect ice on roads, create safer driving conditions. I believe it was mentioned earlier, autonomous vehicles dealing with snow. Perhaps progress from my senior design project will assist in that. I am involved with several organizations on campus. I am president of Tau Beta Pi, the Engineering Honor Society. I'm a member of IEEE Eta Kappa Nu, the Electrical, Computer, and Computer Science Honor Society, a member of the Google Student Developer Club, and my involvement with all those organizations, associations have introduced me to so many wonderful people, some of which are up here with me today. It's given me the opportunity to host events to engage the entire engineering campus, such as Engineers Week, a week-long celebration of all the cool things that we get to do as engineers. I was given the privilege of serving as the student speaker for the renaming ceremony in this building, where I had the honor of meeting Anthony England, former CCS dean and NASA astronaut. Very, very cool stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm Zane Carlson. I transferred here just last fall from a community college in Ypsilanti, WCC at Washtenaw Community College. I'm studying software engineering. This is my senior year this year, so I'm out of here very soon and on to applying all of the great stuff I've learned here onto the bigger world. But basically, the unique experience I've had here is how fast I got involved in things, in all these different activities when I transferred in. The first semester, after about a month, I started tutoring for mathematics up to calculus and linear algebra. And then after that, I was a teacher's assistant for a computer science course. And then now I find myself elected president for the Intelligent Systems Club, where we build a autonomous go-kart. So I feel very uniquely situated, where I feel like I've been given opportunity after opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that.
That's awesome. But Cindy?
All right.
Yep.
Savannah, first one's for you. Can you talk about your path to majoring in human-centered design engineering and your decision to lead the National Society of Black Engineers at UofM Dearborn?
Yeah, so I started in health and human services with a concentration in public health. And when I was on that track, I was actually on path to graduate a year early, but I didn't feel fulfilled in that major. So I actually ended up talking to my mom about it, and I was like, I don't feel ready to graduate. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't really want to go back to school yet and get a master's. And I don't know what I want to do. So she encouraged, we actually looked at the UofM Dearborn website, and we were going through different majors, reading the descriptions and things like that. And human-centered engineering design is the one that I saw, and I was like, this sounds interesting. Like, they're talking about how there's social sciences, there's the engineering background, the art background, and the business background all in one major. And I was like, this sounds exactly like what I want to do. So we looked at the requirements, and when I looked at the requirements, it was a little daunting, because in order to transfer, I had to take up to Calc 2, and I only took pre-calc in high school, and I was like, I don't know if this seems so far away. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do this like in such a short amount of time. Is it gonna be worth it? So I ended up just taking the classes because there's nothing else I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be a student anyways, and probably a year later, I ended up transferring into human-centered engineering design. And then I had a roommate, one of my good friends today, who was computer science, and she encouraged me to actually do computer science and take computer science classes. And I became interested in computer science, and that became my concentration. And then the second part of your question, I just noticed that I wanted to be, there's just not a lot of Black representation in my classes. Like, you'll see like maybe one or not any Black students in my classes. And I was like, I really want to unite like Black students that are pursuing engineering on campus. I know that it used to be active on campus, but there was just no activity, and it was after COVID, so there's just a lot of change. And I was like, you know what? And it takes one person to create change. So I decided to step into the role as president and get the board together. And this is our first year being active and running events. And yeah, it's been quite a journey, to say the least.
Two things you said stand out for me. One was right now, that's a common experience. We had we have just completed this event at Michigan State, and there was a young man who did exactly what you did. The engineering society was, and he stepped in and he looked around for other people, and they're rebuilding, and it was all after the pandemic. And it's people like him and like you who are saying, no, things don't have to be that new. We can grab a little from the past and build toward the future. So thank you for stepping in.
Yes.
And the other thing that I'm going to carry over from the same event was there was another young engineering student who said that she was daunted a little bit by the math requirements for engineering, but it was something she really wanted to do. And rather than being afraid, she decided she was going to do it anyway. That in her end role as an engineer, math may not be that important, but to get past it, to be able to do what she wanted, it was worth the effort and worth the time. So thank you for doing both of those things, because you're going to be someone who's really valuable to society in the end.
Yeah, thank you.
Perla, talk about the Michigan Aeronautical Science Association student-led teams, how they function, and how the teams develop student success.
Sure. I have the pleasure of serving as this year's communications lead at the Michigan Aeronautical Science Association, or MASA Dearborn. MASA is a competitive student team here on campus. What we do is we build a rocket and we fly it at the world's biggest rocketry competition. Usually it takes place in New Mexico. This year I'm guessing they're changing the location, but it's still going to be here in the US. And last year they had over 150 different teams representing different countries and universities. What's really special about MASA is the way it fosters and the way it encourages students to not only grow as engineering students and teach them all the engineering technical skill set, but it also focuses a lot on soft skills, which is what got me into a lot of places that I am now. I joined MASA before I was even an engineer. I got to learn a lot by practicing and doing hands-on engineering application. I participated in the competition. I got to build rockets, both the competitive big rocket and model kits that are like only individual rockets. And I learned a lot to the point where I set a foot down and I said, okay, I want to do engineering for the rest of my life. And this is what got me into not changing, but pursuing a master's of engineering instead. So MASA is divided into multiple sub-teams. We have electrical sub-team with hardware and software. We have mechanical. They also build the rocket. They work around the aeronautical and the airframe of the rocket. They do all the calculation, how much the rocket will weigh, calculate all the acceleration and everything about the flight and the recovery. But we also have project management, which I think is a very important sub-team in an engineering student organization, because in project management, or PM, we try to recruit a lot of people outside of engineering, like from the College of Business. I think earlier Associate Dean Ibrahim was talking about how we try to incorporate people from other colleges into our CCS student orgs. And I think MASA has been doing well with that. This is how I got started with it, and this is how I got to where I am right now. But we try to recruit a lot of business majors to help us with all the financials and the accounting of the team, because at some point we have to handle a very large amount of money to be able to build the rocket and travel to competition. But we also have an arts department within MASA. They do all the merch, the design of the rocket, the stickers, pins, and everything. So it's a very creative environment, as well as the application of engineering, making sure the rocket flies. Also, a lot of people, it's a very good environment to put into practice whatever we learn in classrooms. A lot of times we do learn a lot in classes, but we don't get to really practice whatever we learn in just a semester. That's a very short time to be able to apply everything that we learn. So with the Rocket team, we have a year to put in practice everything that we learn in classrooms. And I think this is very important to learn. It also fosters a lot of teamwork and leadership experience. One of my first leadership experiences here at Dearborn was through MASA. I served the project manager for 2 years, and this led me to get a lot of awards from MASA, and I was, as of recently, I was chosen as a 2024 University of Michigan Difference Maker. And of course, I got to wherever I am because of all the teamwork and the help that I got hands-on from MASA. I think that's it.
I got to tell you, I was so impressed with talking to all of you, but when you brought up the fact that you were in those different departments, you started in mechanical, and then you ended up in project management for a period of time, and then you said to us at the very end, I remember the phone call, I said, I think I'm doing electrical now. I want to get all three of those categories together, and I just think it's exciting, and it's going to help you in the world in a big way, and it's already helping you in a big way. So big time. Thank you.
Regina, talk about the path to becoming the president of the Society of Women Engineers and how it's helping shape your confidence as a woman in the engineering field.
Sure. So I joined the Society of Women Engineers, or SWE, I was 3 years ago. I was just a general body member, and I saw that they were doing all these different social, professional, development, and outreach events. And so engineering is such a male-dominated field, and I loved how I could have a space to know that there is a place for me to belong and succeed. And so the next year, I became the professional development coordinator for SWE. I invited companies to come to campus and host workshops on professional development, and I also organized the main part of our huge conference of the year, the Power Conference, which stands for Professional Opportunities for Women in Engineering and Research. So I invited companies to come in and host workshops throughout the day and network with our students, and that conference brought a lot of job, internship, co-op opportunities for our students. And so I loved that job. I loved seeing that I could give back to the community of women who gave so much to me. And so the next year I decided to run for president. And being president is such a new experience that I knew was going to challenge me. It's a position unlike any that I've had before because I am putting myself out there. I'm being a leader. I'm challenging myself to speak in front of people with opportunities like this. And it's scary. It's it can be very daunting, especially as a woman who, most of our lives we're told, just stay quiet, don't put yourself out there. And so I'm really glad that I can help other women at our school feel represented. And I really like how our society is very diverse. We have women engineers from Egypt, Lebanon, Philippines, India, Bangladesh. We have such a diverse group of women, and it shows how these differences we have are actually advantages. And we can use that when we enter industry and show that just because we're different doesn't mean that we are meant to be hidden. We're actually supposed to show that to other people.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for stepping into the position.
Absolutely. But Jakub, talk about how Chi Beta Pi Engineering Honor Society is helping shape you as an engineer, and also talk about the power of internships in your development. Just give us an example.
Of course. I think a good starting point is with the internships that I have had in the past. I started my engineering journey right after my graduation from high school, where I worked for a company called TÜV-SÜD, which gave me the opportunity to work with major automotive OEMs, testing vehicles to make sure that they conform to the quality standards that a customer would expect. example, if you purchase a truck for 70 grand, you want to make sure that it's going to last you some time. I continued my journey with TÜV in 2 summers ago when I started a position as an electromagnetic compatibility intern, where I was shown just how much work goes into the development and testing of all of the cool electronic control modules, electronics in general, that we are trying to put into modern vehicles. I had the opportunity to work with teams to test battery packs for vehicles, steering columns, power distribution boxes, stuff of that nature. And my experience with TÜV put me in a fantastic position to step into another internship in the field of EMC, electromagnetic compatibility, with Ford Motor Company. Last summer, I had the privilege to work with Ford down in Sunrise, Florida, to test a handful of electronic control modules that are going into modern day vehicles, such as driver support systems, infotainment, stuff of that nature. And where that connects into Talbot Pi is my most recent internship took me to Florida. Not only is that a massive step in my engineering career, it's a massive step in my personal life. It's my first time truly living on my own, completely out of state, and it takes confidence to do something like that, to take that step, not only in the personal life, but also in the professional life. I joined Talbot Pi on April 8th, 2023, and in my year and a half, it has completely changed who I was. Ask me a year and a half ago where I see myself, I probably wouldn't have said up here, speaking in front of all of you. It's given me the confidence to do that, to take on leadership positions, and to accept opportunities when given opportunities. And as president of Talbot Pi, it's my goal to make sure that all of my members, all of my officers see that being part of this association, of this organization, it's a wonderful opportunity to meet other people who have found success, who have that experience with internships, with research, with teaching. And when you're given a unique experience, opportunity, say yes, go for it, make the most of it.
It's huge. When we talked about this, we did our conversation on the phone, I was impressed with a lot of things about that and the prerequisites to get in as well. There's a particular project you have to do as well, and it's the top one in junior and a top what in senior. Just talk about that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with an overview of Talbot Pi. It's an engineering honor society, and it's the only one to represent the entire engineering profession. We have Pi Tau Sigma, which represents the mechanical engineers. We have Eta Kappa Nu, which I mentioned earlier, for us electrical engineers. There's UPE for software computer science. But Talbot Pi brings everyone together, and it's the top engineering students in universities across the United States. And as of last year, there are 2 chapters overseas in the Middle East. Now, to make it to membership, you have to be in the top 8th of your class as a junior, top 5th of your class as a senior, and that's based on a GPA. And I'm very proud to say that I have 2 people here today that went through the candidate process earlier this semester, and they'll be joining the Michigan IOTA chapter of Talbot Pi this weekend.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Zane, talk about the mission of Intelligent Systems Club and how it supports the success of you and others on the team.
Yeah, awesome. So our main mission is to provide accessible learning and a cultivating environment that will basically help our members go from, I don't know what I'm doing with robotics, to I just built I took apart a remote control car, and now it's autonomously driving around in a loop. And we can do that in about a semester for a group of students. We have a lot of connections with alumni, with a lot of big companies like Toyota, Ford, Yazaki. That's just to scratch the surface of some of the companies we have alumni connections with. But that being said, we have a lot of support, we have a lot of mentors, we have a lot of opportunity that can give you really great industry experience. So what we do is our main project is an autonomous go-kart, and we have 3 main teams, similar to NASA. We have a mechanical engineering team, we have an electrical engineering team. I actually have a mechanical, or our electrical engineering lead is with us today, as well as our software engineering lead. And then we have our chief engineer for the project, who was previously mentioned, not by name, Derek Servin, who was the research student for the autonomous blimp in the previous panel. So we've got a lot of really dedicated students, and we've got a lot of great opportunity. We actually go to this event that's hosted by Purdue, where we race these autonomous go-karts against each other in a time trial race. I would say that all this experience is really the only reason I have an upcoming internship this summer, because it's given me the confidence to talk about what I know, but also the confidence to connect with people and ask questions when I am confused about something. So when I lack knowledge, I'm surrounded by people who I know can make up for that.
And I've heard you make a mistake and you move on. You learn from the mistake and you move on. So
There's a lot of mistakes that go
there's
on.
a lot. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough, right?
That's right.
All right.
Well, we want to thank all the students here today. I hope we made you comfortable to ask these questions and that. So again, thank you. Let's give everybody a round of applause.
Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you, guys. Told you it'd be painless. You're all done. You can eat more pizza now. We're enjoying this overall.
Subscribe to Smart Mobility Today on your favorite podcast platform. Sign up to receive our weekly newsletter and follow us on social media at Smart Mobility Today. Produced by Detroit Media Productions, this is Smart Mobility Today.